Hey guys, Thomas the Genie here, aka Mustached, and I'm here to review another series. This time I'm going to be reviewing Obi Wan Kenobi. If you end up enjoying this full review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to petition to help smaller YouTubers, second to my Patreon, third to my PayPal, and fourth to my Discord. Any donations for those will help me and help support the channel, and shilling will be reminded at the end of the review. And with that being said, let's get into Obi Wan Kenobi. So, I guess this shouldn't come as a surprise. Boy, Disney Star Wars continues to suck. I don't think that should surprise anyone that I have to say that, but here we are. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Disney Star Wars sucks. It has sucked for quite a while. It's, dare I say, since its inception. And it's only gotten worse and worse and worse, and Obi Wan Kenobi is no exception to this rule. Obi Wan Kenobi clearly has no writers who have zero interest in what came before and what it was to come after this. This is supposed to take place before the prequels, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, or after the prequels, I don't remember. Point being, there's a space gap in between two of the sets of the movies, and this was supposed to be, or they were trying to preserve this as some sort of in-between gap to tell a Obi-Wan story. And boy, is this Obi-Wan story just terrible. So, here's the thing, is that I barely remember the prequels. I haven't seen them since they came out. I do remember Obi-Wan as a character. I remember him as the older character, how he's able to trick people using, the Force, and how he had a bit of a carefree-ish attitude. But he had very important missions in Star Wars, from what I can remember. Obviously, he was there to train Luke, or attempt to do so. Obi-Wan obviously had a lot going on, and this was, again, supposed to, pre-package him to set him up on this journey to train Luke. So this is before Luke was an adult. This is when he's a kid. This is when the time frame of the show takes place. And since Luke is a kid, Leia is also a kid. They are siblings, as we have come to know of Star Wars. And so, they thought it'd be a nice little story for Obi-Wan to go on a star-seeking adventure to save Leia from a Star Wars Inquisitor, a Force Inquisitor. These Inquisitors, from my bare understanding of what they're supposed to be, are sort of these Force-sensitive evil group that bicker amongst each other, apparently. Again, I'm only going based off of what I've seen on the show, on this show. I don't know I don't know a lot about the Inquisitors, to be honest, as I haven't paid attention to much of the outside of Star Wars stuff, which would seem to where these stem from. But point being is that Leia is captured, or is, endangered of being captured. And the process of capturing her was already embarrassing, by the way. People have pointed out that the chase scene is super awkward, as the adults have to look like they are squabbling and goofing around, as Leia, in her small body, is able to just run through a forest, and the adults have to bumble into trees, and they couldn't just capture her. Again, very odd. And even with the last episode of, Obi-Wan telling Leia to keep this secret, I don't think, when she has a personal moment with Luke later on, that it doesn't really fit that this is the story that they wanted to tell. It feels like Leia would have been more emotional towards Obi-Wan, because, you know, he obviously passes at some point. So, you know, but we can't have that. We can't have things that follow through in Star Wars. No. Much like Luke, in fact, we're gonna break Obi-Wan as a character, because that's what fans want to see happen again. That's fantastic. And while we're at it, not only are we gonna break Obi-Wan as a character, but we're also gonna break Vader as a character. Have him have powers that he does not have access to before, like lifting an entire ship using the Force. I'm pretty sure he wasn't that strong yet back in the day, like when he's like first, you know, this would have been earlier suit Vader, but he has the Force ability already to stop an entire ship. I don't believe it. There's nothing that equates to this equation. It's just, you're just inserting things to make things look cool without recognizing the consequences of there's material here that you ought to respect, and you clearly didn't pay attention to what came before and what came after. The writers, that being. And while we're at it, we're not going to only screw over the two, you know, the main protagonist and the main antagonist, but we'll also screw over Leia, because why the hell not? Why not have her question Obi-Wan after she gets rescued by him, to rescue after the fact, have her run away, jump off of a building on her own, and fall, to catch onto a pole, to fall from that, in order to get the Force to suddenly, abruptly get back into Obi Wan Kenobi, back like that, back when he needs it the most. But before then, it's like, oh, he's struggling with the Force, or whatever the excuse people will try to make for this earlier stuff. And even later on, he has the ability to also throw rocks, like he's like Rey Skywalker or something. Like, that's how powerful they make Obi-Wan at the end of this. Okay. What? I don't... He was struggling. And this is the thing. This is 6 episodes. So you're telling me in 6 episodes, he went from a crumbling old man who's like suffering because he was going through the consequences of thinking that he killed Vader. But surely at some point he would have figured out that he was alive, I think. I'm pretty sure he would have, or even if he didn't, even if that were the case, like, I don't know, like, I feel like the way they deliver it to him, the news, it's kind of silly too, on top of being kind of nonsensical. So, you know, we have that going on. So we have Leia doing stupid stuff, but she also has to be smart too at times. She has to know how to dignify the robots, dignify her standing sometimes, and like with this one line, and that, that equates to everything, and you can just emphasize it by saying, these are the character traits you now possess, because that's the quality of good writing, is saying, you possess these qualities, and you also possess these qualities. I'm referring to this one of the episodes where Obi-Wan literally tells Leia, you get these qualities from your mother, and you get these qualities from your daddy. Wow, thanks for doing that, show. I would have never guessed, because your writing was absolute shit. And there's the thing, you could have achieved all of those things and have not needed to explain any of those things, but you did both. So thanks for being so shit for us. Thank you. Oh, but it gets worse, because the Inquisitor, the one we follow, her name is, Rhea, I think that's her name. So yeah, she was her story, which is pretty predictable, was a Force-sensitive kid who is dragged in. She was stabbed as a child, by the way. She lived after being stabbed with a lightsaber in the chest, because apparently people in Star Wars can just survive anything if the writers decide, oh, the characters just survive this. That's where Star Wars is now. Oh, Palpatine survives from blowing up because we say so. Oh, this character survives getting stabbed through the chest because we say so. Oh, this character gets survived because we say so. It's like, what are the stakes of Star Wars anymore if you keep bringing characters back consistently? This has been a consistent issue with Star Wars for so long now, of like, you keep bringing these characters back who should have been dead, who should have been killed through the process of what you have done to them, and yet you bring them back and say, no, 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 they were actually alive this whole time because of stupid reason. It's like, well, what are the stakes? What are the consequences of dying in Star Wars? Please tell me, because apparently also being a Force ghost also makes you still powerful. Just remember that was Disney Star Wars that did that, by the way, by having Yoda be able to summon lightning and destroy an entire building as a Force ghost. That is something Disney did. So, again, what is the consequence of dying? I don't know. I don't know what the consequence of dying in Star Wars is. I don't know what the stakes are at all. Like, you removed them. You removed any sense of tension, any sense of dread that you could absorb into the show. It's just gone. All of it's just gone now. Because you decided that, oh, characters can just survive anything. And even in death, who cares? Because characters can just, even as Force ghosts, can just do whatever the fuck they want, apparently. So, anyway, so let's have Rhea, the girl who got stabbed in the lightsaber, you know, become this Inquisitor, and later on be promoted to Grand Inquisitor. And Vader already apparently knows that she's like this character who survived somehow. And he even apparently knew that she would eventually betray him. But he brought her on anyway. That does kind of make Vader look stupid, doesn't it? Why would you even go through all that trouble? And why not present it any better from Rhea's point of view as a character? Why not, instead of stabbing her, have her stab... And I know EFAP mentioned this because I was watching their coverage of this. And they mentioned it, and I agree. Yeah, it's dark, but why not have her kill the rest of the children to show, like, hey, don't kill me, I'm willing to join you, just keep me alive, I'm desperate. That angle alone actually does carry a slight advantage and a slight way to be like, yeah, she would kind of carry that with her, that sort of style with her as she grew up. It would make sense now that she would do that. It would make sense that she would, you know, stay consistent with the Inquisitors if that was what was presented to us. But no, that's not what was presented to us. Instead, she got stabbed and said, you know what, I'm gonna join Vader anyway. Yeah, that makes no sense. And he allowed it, which to him makes no sense. So we have all four characters, excuse me, being illogical in different areas, but it gets worse. So in one of the episodes, they decide that they're going to escape through this tunnel, and from what I could tell from the shots and through the angles we see in the show, it's like a snake-like tunnel, but there's like one passageway that leads from one point to the other. Leia and woman friend who helps Kenobi, I don't remember her name, Tia? I think her name's like Taya or something like that. Taya ends up like helping them after they get on a on this little conveyor ship vehicle truck thing with storm troop people who should already know that they're hunting Obi-Wan and probably should know what he looks like, but no, they don't. So Obi-Wan's able to kill them all, go over a laser fence instead of going around it, which you could have hopped around the metal part, by the way. You didn't have to inconvenience yourself that much, but whatever. They cut through it anyway. There are more stormtroopers that keep them alive. Obi-Wan still has his gun, finger on the trigger, still ready to go, but he's on his hands and knees, but whatever. Because, the troopers are also incompetent in this show, because stormtroopers are just incompetent always and now and forever in Star Wars, I guess. So, don't worry. Everyone will be incompetent. And people who love Star Wars will just eat it up, consume a product, and say, yep, that's the good thing. Yep, they made the reference, so I like it now. It's like, is it really that easy to please people with this? This garbage? This level of nonsense? And just to get back to the tunnel, so again, from the shots that we see in the show, I'm just referencing what we see, it seems to be one singular snake-like path. And again, Leia and Tia go on this path first. They sneak in, and the Grand Inquisitor, I'll just call her that because I don't remember. I'm going to keep forgetting her name, like Rhea and Taya. Rhea, the Inquisitor lady, follows them to this spot. So she's coming in the same way initially that they're going in, through this snake-like path. However, when they're deep in, first of all, Taya, the woman that's with Leia, goes back. She's like, oh, I gotta help Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan's being smothered in flames, and somehow people really love this scene, and it looks really stupid, and why would Vader even do this without just killing Obi-Wan right then and there, when he had the ability to just force choke him, when later on we see that he wanted to kill him. Yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. Everyone's stupid in this show. So there's again this one hallway, and the Grand Inquisitor lady teleports to the other side of this snake path, the secret snake path, to where the ship is somehow, to grab Leia to make the 4th episode happen, which is also terrible, with a escaping trench coat scene that's so embarrassing that I don't know how people defend this. Of like the rebel, the bad guy base is on full alert, and Taya is in the base. She somehow even made it into the base. They even set it up to say like this place has no shields, which is so stupid that they would have to enforce that to get our heroes into the base in the first place, but here we are. So she has no level of secrecy. She just levels her command, and that works, I guess. And she's compromised in no way. Even when she's in the room and there's a guard next to her, she's still not compromised, even though she's clearly speaking into a little device to another individual. You could probably also hear Obi-Wan's voice coming through that thing. So the guard next to her, who's not even that far away, would hear this based on the volume of it, and would be like, yeah, that's a bad, and we're gonna arrest you or kill you right here and now. But no, she gets to, on top of get in and sit down and talk to Obi-Wan like it was no big deal, take out another separate guard, go back to sitting down, and continue communicating, despite there being 2 other guards in that room still actively participating and not recognizing that another guard just got knocked out. But wait, it gets worse. As they get in, all of this terrible stuff happens. Obi-Wan gets maximum potential force powers back abruptly here. Like, he had some powers before to, like, lift her, which is like, yeah, that was lazily put together, but now he's able to push all of this water one way. I think that's how they're trying to present it, but even though it looks horrible, or it doesn't look great. And he runs the other way. So yeah. So they get out, and when they're, the maximum alarms are going off on the ship, and there are people on the outside when they reach the outside who are just sort of wandering and just moving as if nothing is happening. And get this, they have Leia, they rescue Leia, whatever. And the bad guys found time. The Grand Inquisitor lady found time to grab her robot, which her little Leia robot came out. She grabs it, tinkers with it, and finds a way to give it back to her off-screen with enough time for them to escape, with the escapees including himself, Taya, and Leia. Leia, who is, I am not joking, this is what happens, is in the trench coat of Obi-Wan's. So there's a trench coat that looks like this, that's widened, that has both of their legs sticking clearly out of it. There are guards walking past them, through them, both ways, this way and this way. And not a single one of them recognizes this level of craziness that is walking past them, just walking like there's nothing wrong. And it gets worse. Without any setup, without any sort of semblance of how this occurs, when Grand Inquisitor lady comes out to, threaten them, they get saved by 2 incoming ships that fire the lasers, and they didn't set this up at all. They just appear, literally, a deus ex machina, if you will, to help them finalize their escape. And one of them gets killed, but not the one that needed to get killed. This Wade guy that gets killed. He was a person that went in the mission and got killed for going on the mission. That's his character, as far as I know. But it gets worse, because again, Darth Vader has powers that unrival this, so now they have Leia. They get to their little rebel base, they're underground, the Grand Inquisitor lady's like, trying to make her case with Vader. Vader's like, hey, seize the area. So they have the little robot turn off the device, or to close them off, which I don't even know how that works, but it closes off their exit, which you would think if they left it open with the ship riding above them, the ship above them would just be able to look down and spot them. But apparently the ship that has Vader in it currently disappears and vanishes from the episode after the fact to let them escape somehow. But it gets worse. As they are setting up this little sequence where Leia is like in the little vent. It's not even a little vent, it's probably a vent that some people could fit inside and probably are more trained and suitable to do so. But no, it needs to be Leia, because she needs to do something in this episode, I think. Meanwhile, there are back flashes to like Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting, which is, Anakin was Darth Vader before or whatever. and how that fight sequence is going on. But, you know, for the sake of just beyond that flashback, we have Darth Vader eventually catching up, Rey being convinced by Obi-Wan that she's on the wrong side of history based off of, you know, 6 episodes worth of character development. Because again, her entire setup doesn't make any, there's no logical through line for her entire character. Obi-Wan's broken as a character, Darth Vader gets powers that are unimaginable to what he is capable of doing later on in the series, and of course Obi-Wan also gets superpowers that go beyond what I think he would even be capable of as well, if I'm being quite frank. So, they get to the ship, or I guess a back ship that was super hidden, I think. Darth Vader pulls the main ship down, and how the main ship is up even in the first place when they're on this other back ship that's super hidden. It flies off after Vader destroys this other ship that flew up somehow, question mark, that's otherwise empty, question mark. This is also the episode where Taya dies. Oh well, she was a character that, I don't know. Them getting in, she had a grenade. Why didn't she use the grenade earlier? Because everyone in Star Wars is stupid. That's why. Seriously, you could have bought them so much more time if she used that grenade and potentially even caused a cave-in on that end where the stormtroopers were coming in. Could have saved her own life, but nope. You needed that one sacrifice to give Obi-Wan that little push. And Obi-Wan needs to be pushed by everyone. By Leia, by her, and eventually by Qui-Gon Jinn, or whatever, however pronounce his name. I don't even give a fuck about him either, because if, you know, since he's already a Force ghost anyways, fuck it. They were gonna ruin him too anyways if they gave it any more time. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. They would have ruined him too, but they kept it short. They kept it short enough for them not to ruin that one moment, but except to give Obi-Wan that one last push that apparently he still needed. After, you know, force pushing a bunch of rocks at Vader, after force pushing his way out of a bunch of rocks. But, you know, Vader doing all that to him seems, again, a bit early excessive, but whatever, here we are. And even Leia's father, the one who sends Obi-Wan on this mission, he sends over this transmission that would give up way too much information, which it does, and it ends up in the hands of the Grand Inquisitor lady, so he's stupid too. So again, everyone in Star Wars is equally stupid. To the point of just Disney Star Wars is stupid. Everything in it is stupid. You can't prop up anyone without ruining everyone. And that's literally what Obi Wan Kenobi has managed to do. It was attempting to prompt up the Grand Inquisitor lady and Leia, obviously, as well, but it crumbled every character that was present on the show, which is, quite frankly, a little impressive that they managed to ruin that much content, and people are apparently eating this up. They're like, Obi-Wan Kenobi's back, woo! Celebrate when he holds the lightsaber, when he does the basic nostalgia shit. We fall for it every single time without thinking about what's happening in the moment. What is happening right now? What you know, writing, basic writing. How do you write the character? How do you give him a compelling story? How do you make people earn their cheers in the moment instead of hooking them back to nostalgia? There are ways to do this, and Disney Star Wars refuses every single time to attempt to do so. They would rather ruin the characters, Luke, Obi-Wan, Leia, Grand Inquisitor lady, who's a new character, and they managed to ruin a new character. I don't understand. I don't understand how people can eat this up. They're eating it up, and this is terrible writing. This is garbage writing. This is like a 1 out of 10 show in terms of a score. Like, this is just broken. This is fundamentally broken. These people don't know how to write characters. And if you don't know how to write characters, you don't know how to make a good story. You just don't. This is not a good story. This is a terrible, broken story. It's not a good story. It's a broken story. Every single episode has something that's like, nope, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Every single episode has something like that. Even the first episode, it's like you're already starting to question, like, why would you do that? Why would you send Obi Wan on this mission specifically? Why wouldn't you give that a little bit more thought? Why wouldn't you really think about what consequences you could be facing when you do something like that? These are things you have to consider when you're writing something that has something before and something after. The sort of in-between story. I know that sounds hard to do, an in-between story, but that's the story that they wanted to tell, apparently. And they fucked it all up. They fucked up everything in between. And it's just like, well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Disney fans are going to continue to eat it up until they get sick of it. Then I don't know when they're going to get sick of it. It's like, I'm trying to consistently warn people, like, this is not a show you should watch. I'm going to go that hard on this. You should not watch this show. It is not a good show. If you have made it in this far into the video, this is not a show you should consider watching. You should watch people's coverage of it, sure, but giving this show your time is not worth it. It is not worth it. It is a 1 out of 10. This is hell. I don't know how this is possible. I don't know how you make something this bad. If I could give a thing a 0 out of 10, like, that in itself is also tempting. That is how bad this is. This is like 0 out of 10. Everything is broken in this. That's how bad it is. It's like, I don't know if it deserves a 1. I don't know what point of it deserves a 1. I'm questioning why I would give it even a 1 out of 10. So that's where I am. And that's Obi Wan Kenobi. I don't know if it's going to have a Season 2. People are already wanting a Season 2. I don't know why you would want a Season 2 when Season 1 was this level of shit. Why would you want more shit? It's so frustrating to see people just get suckered into nostalgia this badly. This badly. It's quite a phenomenon that I have not seen to this extent, to this level of things being destroyed this badly and people desperately begging to stay fans of the thing. It's like, what are you doing? Just let it go. Just let it go. Star Wars just needs to be let go, I think. I think it's better off let go at this point. We have exhausted every conceivable thing that could have been done. The original creator is gone. And even if his vision was becoming a little bit more odd, even if that were the case, I don't care. Because when it went out of his hands completely, it went off the rails completely. Like, completely. It went from it being okay and, like, kind of cringy still a little bit, but still, like, you still felt like it was a little bit like the original Star Wars, even in that time. I'm talking about, like, the prequel stuff. Like, you still had that faith of, like, yeah, they're trying, there's clearly flaws here, but they're doing stuff. There's some good stuff in there. And here we are, in the Disney era, and just everything is just nope. Just a big pile of nope. So, I'm gonna go ahead and give this my the very first 0 out of 10 I've grand achieved, where I've given 2 10 out of 10s, and here we are. A channel first, my very first 0 out of 10. This is not a good show. This is broken. This is a broken thing that has assembled together a bunch of actors I honestly feel bad for, because they were given this bullshit to pull together, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it with this level of shit that they were handed. They could not save it, despite the actor levels that they have here granted to them. They were not able to save this dumpster fire. So there you have it, my full review of Obi Wan Kenobi. And if you ended up enjoying this full review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help smaller YouTubers, second to my Patreon, third to my PayPal, fourth to join my Discord. Helping with PayPal and Patreon will help support me and my channel continue to thrive and grow, so please consider joining up and helping support me to continue to be objective here on YouTube. And with that, until next time everyone, bye-bye!